This is the Idiot Entrepreneur Podcast with
John
and Kelley,
where no one is smarter than you. We're all just a bunch of idiots figuring out business and life one day at a time. Welcome to another episode of Idiot Entrepreneur. How you doing, Kelley?
Hello, idiots.
Welcome, idiots, to another episode. All right. So, Kelley, how are you doing today?
Doing well, John. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing all right. It's almost June.
That is correct.
Time's flying this year.
It is. Yeah, today is Memorial Day for those of you who are not... for those of you who don't know. So happy Memorial Day to you.
That's right.
If you care.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
John and I are working on Memorial Day, so that's what we like to do. And actually, this is a good point I, might as well bring up since I'm on the topic is that, if you guys want to get ahead in life, work during the times when no one else wants to, such as holidays, Memorial Day, weekends, nights, the days when everybody else is taking off, they're laying low, they're hanging out. If you're working, that's going to put you ahead in life. So, just a little pointer,
Exactly. Do the work when no one's working.
Yeah, when nobody else wants to.
It'll put you miles ahead.
Okay, so what are we going to be talking about today, John?
It's a great question. All right, so today...
Do you even know?
Yeah, I have no clue. All right, so today we're going to talk about taking responsibility for your life. Most people don't do this. Most people defer it. Most people blame the outside world for their circumstance, which is bullshit.
Yeah, this is a really important topic. Honestly, we talk to a lot of people just through, what we do. We see this from so many people just blaming everything in the world but themselves for their lack in life. So if they're not where they want to be in life, if they don't have the things that they want to have, it's never, oh, I'm the problem. It's always, oh, my mom messed me up, or I don't have any money, or so many different excuses, and it's all just excuses. So we're here to get you on the right track, to get your mind right and start taking responsibility for yourself so that you can actually improve.
Truth, so, it's a fact that if you can't admit in your personal and business life that you aren't willing to take responsibility for your life, where you are in life right now, you're going to need a lot of luck to get by, because you're going to need that luck, because the fact is you're not going to be able to do anything successfully in any way, shape, or form unless you can take responsibility for where you are.
And that takes self-awareness. And
yeah,
self-awareness is a huge skill that is absolutely required for success of any kind, whether it's your own personal life, if it's business life, anything. You have to be self-aware. And if you are not taking responsibility for everything that you have and do not have, then you're not self-aware.
Exactly. So I'm going to throw a fact at you guys. Here's a fact. What you did yesterday, weeks, months, years ago is a reason why you are where you are today. There's no denying that, so what you did, if you sat on the couch 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, you're going to be sitting on the couch today.
And that shouldn't be a surprise, by the way.
It's not a surprise. Right? Yeah, it's not.
I think a lot of people just think sitting down, the things that they're thinking of that they want are just going to fall from the sky and land in their lap, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's never the case. Here's another fact for you guys. Where you'll be in 5 years is a result of your actions today. Meaning, if you're putting in a lot of work today, you're working on Memorial Day, you're working on Christmas, you're working on Thanksgiving, you're working on the weekends, you're working on the evenings. 5 years from today, you will see the results of that, guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. It's absolutely true.
So that means you gotta take away one thing: taking full responsibility for your actions. So if you're really pissed off about where your life is today, the fact that you have $0, the fact that you can't pay rent, the fact that your life absolutely sucks, you're miserable, you blame the world, that's because you did nothing, and that's your fault. That's 100% your fault, and you deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, if your life sucks, too bad, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry, because that is 1000% your fault. You are the factor in there that has the choice to change things, that has a choice to do something or not do something, that has a choice to act or just sit around. That it's all you. It's very, very easy to make excuses for yourself, but that's just what they are. They're excuses. Anything that you want to say as to why you didn't reach a goal is just bullshit, because the reason that you don't reach your goals is 100% driven by you and your lack of effort.
So that means, sort of the opposite is true. So if your life is great wherever it is, congrats, you deserve it. So if you're happy working with whatever you're doing, 9 to 5, you have your own business, you're happy, life is good, you deserve it. That means you made it to wherever you think you should be right now. If right now you're in a situation where you realized a lot of mistakes in the past, which a lot of people should realize, is if you're working really hard to improve your life right now, congrats. You've come to a realization and are taking action to improve your life. And that's a huge milestone for anyone. If they can come to the realization that, oh shit, the last 10 years of my life, I've been doing nothing. And now I'm actually taking steps to improving my life, by assuming full responsibility. You've made it. You've hit that marker for success, for your ongoing success.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that, I just want to make the point that we're not sitting here on a, pedestal looking down and saying, oh, all you idiots, you guys aren't doing anything. And, John and I aren't where we want to be in life at all, not even close. And that's because, well, it's a lot of reasons. It's because we have massive goals. That's number one. Number two, we have both been guilty of not acting and, blaming other things, other circumstances, other people, just like everybody does. This is a common human thing. But what's critical is that you realize it, is that you stop denying, you gain some self-awareness, and you take inventory of your life and really look at what you've accomplished. And if it's nothing, okay, it's nothing. And maybe you'll feel shitty about that, and maybe it makes you sad and you don't want to think about it. But if you keep denying it, you're never going to get anywhere. So it really takes that self-awareness to sit down and say, okay, what have I done? Where do I want to be? And why am I not there? And once you realize that it's you can change it, right? It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, how far behind you think you are. You can change it, and you can make a lot of change in a short amount of time. So I just, wanted to mention, like, that's where we are, right? We're very self-aware. We realize where we need to go, where we want to go. And ultimately, we're always going to be doing this. We're always going to be improving and wanting to get more out of life and do more. It's a lifelong process.
So to add to that perspective, for people who have really shitty lives and are constantly complaining, you have two options. You stay poor, sad, mediocre, or mid-wage for the rest of your life, or you have the option to take action and responsibility and change right now. That's basically the only two options you have. A lot of people just choose the easier route.
Well, and actually, easier is
not doing anything.
It is easier, but it's also harder. It's
easier
to sit down and do nothing, but it will actually make your life harder.
Well, yeah, it will.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the easier route that people see as I'm not going to do anything is actually a lot harder.
Yeah, because you're miserable because you don't have the money, you don't have the freedom, You don't have the confidence, you feel like crap about yourself. I mean, all of those things actually make your life much, much harder than it would be if you just took some action. And we're not saying start a business, we're not, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just whatever you want out of life. Hopefully you have goals. If you don't, you need to make some, because that's kind of the point of life, is to have goals and to work towards them and to reach them and to pass them and then make new goals. That's really how you move up and improve and have a good full life.
Yeah, exactly. So, it takes some perspective. It takes self-awareness, and also takes you taking responsibility, which, like we said, a lot of people don't do.
Most people.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't do. So a lot of common stories or examples people tell themselves is, quote, I didn't have X, Y, or Z growing up. Whether it's money, I didn't have great parents, I didn't have the right car, I didn't have the right education. That's a very common excuse. Another one is my life was hard growing up for whatever reason, and insert whatever reason you can think of. And a lot of people will say my life was really hard because of this, or because of, I don't know, I got beat up a lot, I got picked on.
You did?
Yeah, frequently. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I beat him up anyway.
Yeah.
How'd you know that, by the way?
You just admitted it.
Oh man, that's funny. Another common story that people tell is success is only for the rich. Not true. Another one is I have too much debt. That's another common one.
All these are such an easy pass,
yeah,
by the way.
Yeah.
If you think success is for the rich, well, that's why you're poor.
Oh yeah, because you're fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
So all that equals, what I'm trying to say is that those are all bullshit excuses for mediocrity that will forever keep you poor as fuck. And that's just true. Like Kelley was saying earlier, in the long run, it's a lot harder to be mediocre than successful, right? So it's a lot harder to be mediocre than successful.
And we actually spoke about this in another episode, but there is so much more competition for mediocrity than there is for success. I mean, it's unbelievable, the amount of people that there are just, being average and mediocre. And then as you start to gain success, those numbers drop off. And, at the top, we're not there yet, but, I as you can see, all the richest people in the world, it's like 1%, 2%. So there's not that much competition up there, right? You have to work really hard to get there, but that, there's not a lot of competition. So it's truly harder to be mediocre than successful.
Very true.
And actually, one thing I just an example I want to mention, because I hear this one so often, is that, so many people will blame their children or their significant other for not being where they want to be in life. So many, a huge excuse people use is, oh, well, I used to always want to be, a doctor, but then, I had kids, and then I was married and I was busy, and I just didn't have time. I had to focus on my kids. And that is just such a crap excuse. It's just BS. That's not true. I mean, how many people are there that have children that are successful? A lot is the answer. I don't, I just think that is such a cop out, and really people just use these excuses, to help them swallow the fact that they're mediocre, to help them justify to themselves why they didn't do something. When the real answer is they just didn't try. They didn't put in any effort. But that doesn't sound as good to tell yourself. You'd rather tell yourself, well, I didn't try, or I'm sorry, I didn't get where I wanted to go because I had kids, so I couldn't, right?
Yeah, that's very true. That's a great example. Like, we interview a lot of people every year. I'd say hundreds of employees every year. And the common theme, one of the questions we ask is, name one of your greatest achievements? And a lot of them will say, my kids. Having kids was my greatest achievement. That's not an achievement. popping out a baby, in my opinion, is not an achievement. I mean,
we're
that's
all
a
equally
biological.
capable of doing so.
Anybody on the planet can have a baby, literally.
And also, if you're, working a min-wage job and have no means to support a child, you really shouldn't be proud that you had one, because you did that child a huge disservice.
Yeah, I mean, that kid's screwed. Growing up, he's going to live a really hard life. That's a truth, and a lot of people may disagree with that, but I think I'm right on that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, well, I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there for haters.
Yeah. Haters.
No, actually, another one people will say, again, all these blow my mind, it blows John's mind, but people will say that, oh yeah, my greatest accomplishment. One guy told us his greatest accomplishment was being alive, which I'm not really sure what that meant. Maybe he lived in a rough neighborhood, but
Well, that dude, he lived in the Bronx.
Yeah, but still, being alive, I mean, that's not really...
That's not an accomplishment.
I mean, I don't think you have a choice, really, on that matter, unless you take your own life. But no, a lot of people will say that graduating high school was a big achievement. And again, that's just a prerequisite. That's basic. I'm not impressed, right? Everyone is supposed to graduate high school. That's just what you do. That's just the progression. So, not impressed and not an accomplishment. That's just, again, you gotta do some stuff in life. And if you're not there, if you haven't done much and you don't have a lot to be proud of, so to speak, that's okay. You can change that. That's the purpose of this podcast. We're trying to get you in the mindset to realize, okay, let me look in the mirror and figure out what I'm not doing, why I'm not where I want to be, and then change it.
Exactly. It just self-realization, so that leads into the harsh truth and the bottom line. So if you're really unhappy, if you have let's say you're living a really subpar life and you're really unhappy with it, you deserve it, because that's what you earned, which is nothing. So take responsibility for not doing shit, because if you don't do anything with your life, you don't deserve anything. And that's just the truth. I mean, it's harsh. It's truly harsh.
It's not harsh, though.
But a lot of people will say it's harsh.
Well, they're the people that have done nothing.
I know.
Period.
Exactly. So. And those are the people that are quick to point the finger. So let's put it this way. So let's say you're happy with where you are in life right now. You have a great job, a family, kids, a white picket fence, 2 cars, a dog. And if you're happy, then you made it in your world. And I say to that, congrats. You deserve it. You made it where you want to be. And if you're happy, go for it. So we're not saying that you must achieve some sort of high level of success in order to be happy.
Yeah, success is relative.
It's all relative.
Different things to different people. So it's not about what we think is success. Obviously, what we think is success is probably a lot different than a lot of
Most
people.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, that's not the point. The point is, if you have any level of unhappiness or any level of regret, then you should take responsibility for that and change it.
Mm-hmm.
Just quit sitting around being miserable.
Yes. Stop complaining. And that's a great point. That leads into, if you want the next level of success, however you define it, that next level of success, you have to earn it. And you earn it the right way, meaning it's going to take time and work and effort over years to actually earn what your goal is, whatever that may be. And that's different for everyone. Our definition of what we want out of life is completely different than probably 99% of people, I would say. 100%. And if you want it, you got to earn it, and truly earn it, meaning you got to work for it. So, reality is reality. You got to face your circumstances and face the facts.
Yeah. And you got to lose that sense of entitlement. So many people have that, oh, well, I should have this. I deserve this. I deserve that, but what did you do for that? Anything? I mean, you think you just by being alive, you deserve something? I mean, the answer is no, you don't.
Yeah.
So, you got to lose that sense of entitlement and realize the only things you deserve are the things that you've earned. And if you've earned yourself a crappy life, that's what you deserve. That's what if you don't want that, then you should change it. But
too bad.
But really just realizing that it's well within your means and your power to do so. Everybody has a choice about what they do, what they say, what they think, how they behave. That is your choice. I don't care what anybody says. If you want to say that you can't choose if you're sad or happy, bullshit. Yes, you absolutely can. So if you choose to do nothing and you choose to be miserable, then again, that's your fault. But if you don't want to, then you have the choice to do better and to succeed. But the point is that you have to take responsibility for those choices.
Exactly. What else can we say here? I mean, learn to take responsibility for your life, because all the good things and the bad things that happen to you are a consequence of your actions over time or lack of actions over time. So, what it comes down to is that it's your fault. If you're not happy with something, you got to point the finger, not at someone else. You got to point the finger right in your face and blame yourself, because it is your fault. No one else is to blame, because, in today's world, I think you could be literally homeless and you could still make it. That's actually truth. You can with the amount of resources there are today, and amount of support there is for basically anyone, you can make it. Anybody can do it. But if you don't take the chance on yourself and don't take responsibility, you'll never make it. So you're in control of your own outcome. So you can choose your final destination, whatever that may be, through your own actions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know what time it is?
Oh, yes. It's the Idiot Fact of the Day.
All right. John, you want to share the Idiot Fact of the Day?
Sure. Okay. Gladly. All right. So the first president of Zimbabwe.
My favorite country.
That's where you're from.
Yep. As you can see by my nice ghostly skin.
Yeah, I can tell. So the first president of Zimbabwe, get ready for this, guys. His name is actually President Banana, like the fruit, literally spelled Banana. President Banana. That's actually his real name. I don't know how that's possible.
What's his first name? Do you know?
Maybe Apple Banana, or Hannah Banana, Hannah Montana. Yeah, I don't know actually. Mr. President Banana actually.
No one's last name is Banana.
What's that?
That's just crazy. I've never heard of anyone with the last name Banana.
Oh, I know. I have no freaking clue. It seems like it's made up. And,
it does.
I mean, I guess all names are made up. So President Banana actually brought in a law to stop people from making fun of his name. Yeah.
He'd pelt you with 100 bananas if you made fun of him.
Yeah. Death by whipping of bananas by Banana. Death by Banana. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what the laws actually stated, but it's interesting.
It is. It makes you, there's hope for some of you. No, you can still become president even if you have a whack ass name like Banana.
Yeah, exactly. So if President Banana can make it, a lot of you can.
Yeah, that's right. Should give you hope.
Oh man, it was a great show today.
Yeah, I like that you determined that our show is great, like during our show.
I'm saying the truth. I think there's a lot of good content.
Yeah, this is a great show.
Yeah, this is a great show.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, no bias.
Yeah, which actually, speaking of it being a great show, we totally forgot once again to remind
everybody, to
share this episode with someone if you got any value out of it. If you got any value, just share it with somebody who you think might benefit from it. Obviously, we'd also appreciate it if you would rate us on iTunes, 5 stars, of course. Leave us a review, because it helps us grow the podcast and reach more people, help more people.
Exactly. I mean, we appreciate it. So if you think anyone can benefit from it, spread the word. That's all we ask.
Yeah. So I would just say final words, guys. Just remember that if you're not where you want to be, if you don't have what you want to have, and most of us don't, then realize that you can change it. It's never too late. It's not something that, you just climb a small hill before you go for the mountain, but eventually, like, small actions add up into massive actions. And if you do take action to change things, A year from now, you'll be amazed at all that has changed in your life if you just take action.
That's it.
Okay, that's all we got.
All right, guys. Until the next episode.
Adios.
See ya.